Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Today, we are going to take another look at Kaiju number 8. I know we've been doing a lot of that recently, and I am 100% not sorry for spamming your feed with Kaiju number 8 content. I am enjoying this, and I am having a blast overanalyzing everything. Now, this first one is just, I don't even know if I want to call it a theory yet. It's just a very strong impression that I got from the latest chapters of Kaiju number 8, specifically the one where Kaiju number 8 actually transforms and takes over the body from Kafka and speaks to him. Now, these are just a very few panels and we have very little information. But when you look at that first image of Kaiju number 8 transformed, when the director Shinamaya has his fist out and Kaiju number 8 is blocking it, I looked at that and immediately set off a flag in my brain. My brain said, that is a child. That is a very, very young child that Commander Shinamaya is facing. And it was just a flicker, and because I was keeping reading and these chapters go so fast. But I came back to it, especially after I saw the interaction. And then I went and I looked back at it. So let's go at the first point where we actually see the real Kaiju number 8. That little tiny Kaiju that shows up fluttering over Kafka's head in the hospital. Now, that was a very odd design. It's something like a dragonfly, something like a salamander, something like an eel. But it has really, really big eyes and these cute little hands. He's like one of those hobgoblins that's designed to be a friendly in a campaign. And so it's, even though it is kind of grotesque looking, it's also kind of cute looking, like a baby moose or a baby alligator. But this has really, really big eyes and a very peculiar body shape when you look at it. It's slightly curled over. It's got that long tail, those tiny unformed limbs, and the giant bulbous head in relationship to its body. Those are the body proportions of either a fetus or a very, very undeveloped fish or salamander hatchling. Basically something very small and very young. Now, we literally only have 3 lines that Kaiju number 8 has said. I found you, which is a complete sentence. Kill Kaiju. But both times it's staring intently at Kafka and trying to communicate something to him in a very short period of time. So we don't know if that's the extent of its vocabulary. But especially from what happened in chapter 36, it does appear to have a limited vocabulary. Now, so what is my theory? What am I getting from all this? I'm thinking that Kaiju number 8 might be a child soldier, or something that Kafka has inadvertently allowed to be a child soldier, and that its purpose in seeking Kafka out might have been just a child looking for protection. So where do I get this? Well, in drawing, there are certain artistic principles that you learn very, very early on. I am not a professional artist, but I suppose writing is an art, but when it comes to sketching, the difference between adults and children is actually very easy. It's all about the proportion of the head and eyes to the body and something about the limbs. So when you're drawing manga, children, there's a few other unique aspects too. So starting off with the head. With a child, the head is much larger in proportion to the body. An adult's head should only be about 1/10 of the total height when you're drawing manga. A child's head, especially a very young child or a toddler, is going to be a quarter of the length of the entire body. Another element is that in a child's body in manga, you want the torso to be longer to give it a more doll-like appearance, where with an adult, you want the legs to be longer. This is why not only in manga, but in Western animation as well, it's very popular to put the child in a baggy t-shirt and baggy shorts. It gives the appearance of that elongated torso that makes the child more doll-like and visually attractive. And when you look at the drawing, it's on page 26 of chapter 36, where director Shinamaya is facing down the true Kaiju number 8 for the first time. Kaiju number 8 is in control of the body. Now, technically the size of the eyes hasn't changed, but whereas when Kafka's in control, there is a center of light surrounded by darkness that makes the eyes appear smaller. When Kaiju number 8 is control, the eyes are aglow with a pure white or blue light, which is interesting. A red or a dark light would indicate an evil presence. A white or a blue light usually indicates a a holy or pure presence, an innocent presence. But that just might be the color schemes. But anyway, the point is the eyes look much larger. And the way the body is positioned is very, very telling. And I know this can't be just purely accidental on the artist's part because they're so carefully. You can't see the legs. You can't see much of the legs. You see a lot of the torso. And the body is placed sideways, so you nearly have it's only slightly off of a full frontal view, so you can see the full width of the rib cage and shoulders. And the elbows are positioned out to the sides. This is partially a natural reaction to blocking the blow, but it creates that impression of a wide box shaped or a baggy t-shirt like you get when you draw a toddler in manga. And the head is distinctly larger in proportion to the body, emphasized by the fact that the head actually goes all the way down to the shoulders, and this kaiju really doesn't seem to have a neck. But the whole impression is of something young, pure, and innocent, not angry, not evil, just frustrated with the situation. Maybe a little frightened. Again, it's a very, very innocent, childlike appearance, and this just really, really speaks to the skill of the author because they've taken something that's objectively terrifying, this jet black kaiju, and they've turned it into and they've drawn it so that it appears to be very sweet and innocent. Now, the sweetness and the innocence starts to wear off as the fight goes on, but in the next two panels that it shows up in, again, we get that full frontal view as the director Shinamaya is examining it. But again, the eyes are large, the head is large, and you've got that kind of boxy, shapeless thing going that indicates a long torso, that doll-like appearance. In the next one, you just see the face, but again, the eyes are bright and clear, they're large, and the brows are kind of unfurrowed, although there are no eyebrows. It's just a skull. It's been shown they've drawn it very flexible. And again, no malice, nothing evil, just confusion and frustration. Then, of course, the mouth splits open. But even with the full mouth open, Kaiju's about to eat you impression that you get on... I'm sorry, it wasn't on page 6. It was on page... The first view of the kaiju in chapter 36 is on page 2. Then you have the next ones are on page 4 and 5. And then on page 6, you have this wide mouth opened scream image. But again, it's going to be a terrifying look, but it is the terrifying look that you get when you see a bull mastiff barking. There's still something adorable about it. And again, it all goes back to the eyes are big and the way the lines around the eyes are shaped. Now, then the cuteness really starts to wear off if Kafka loses control. But again, there's nothing that appears, there's no indication of evil. There aren't the really sharp downward sloping eyebrows. Again, he doesn't have eyebrows, but you get the idea. And this is where the mouth really starts to split open to the back of the neck, and the kaiju looks in pain as if it's suffering. Kaiju number 8 just looks intensely freaked out. Then we get the kaiju itself talking to Kafka from within the body, in whatever pocket dimension Kafka's actual body is stashed in. And again, you have that wide-eyed innocent looks, but this kaiju inside the body actually looks even more wholesome, I guess you could say, than the one it was outside the body. It doesn't have that weird knobby thing on top of its head. You don't have to deal with the wings or the limbs. It just appears to be the head, and it's smooth. That's interesting because smooth things are generally considered healthier. Then, again, we get another look at the outside of Kaiju number 8's body. Interesting. The mouth, and this is just something I find interesting. The mouth is open to the back of the neck, opening at the back of the neck, but up front, his front teeth are closed. So usually, when something super dangerous is deliberately attacking you, you open the canine teeth, so you have that gaping maw impression. But the artist chose not to do here. And again, I think it's to preserve that weird duality of the innocence of Kaiju number 8's eyes superimposed on the intense brutality and very mature intensity of the body. This is kind of the masculine version of Betty Boop. A child's eyes and words superimposed on a super masculine adult's body. Then you, of course, have the combat scenes where we pull away and we don't have as clear a view of his eyes. And this is just terrifying. And inside, I guess It really does look like Kafka's physical body is taking damage, but it's all the kind of intense damage that could be psychosomatic. Blood vessels are popping. He's experiencing intense levels of pain. But whether or not Kafka's physical body is actually experiencing this is a whole nother video. Anyway, point is, you have the combat scenes, and every time we have a close-up of the Kaiju's face, his canines are closed and his eyes are big, his brow is unfurrowed, and his eyes have that pure clear glow to them. Again, all indicators of innocence. This really reminds me of when you have the younger shonen protagonists who are first learning to fight. Then whenever we have an intense scene, we're pulled back away from his face. That's just very interesting positioning. And of course, then you have what the Kaiju actually said to Kafka in that little pocket dimension when they spoke. Now, there are, the Kaiju gets 4 speech bubbles. The first one is ellipse, 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 ILL, period. Then the next one is K, ellipse, 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 LL. Then you have full words in the next panel, kill and Kaiju. Now, interestingly enough, this is one where the translation becomes really, really important, because that might be I'll kill Kaiju, or it might be kill Kaiju, where the first 2 panels are just the forming Kaiju number 8, still forming and not being able to speak clearly. And the second 2 panels are it speaking clearly and saying kill Kaiju. Now, I'm kind of getting 2 interpretations of this. If it's kill Kaiju, the Kaiju number 8 might be telling Kafka to kill Kaiju. Or if it's I'll kill Kaiju, it might be the Kaiju number 8 kind of saying, sit back, relax, I got this. You don't have to fight anymore. And both are within the realm of this concept of this childlike being communicating with the person that he sought out for protection and help. But the I'll kill Kaiju just kind of, again, it seems more in line with the visual indicators of wide-eyed innocence that the Kaiju has been putting off in these panels. And again, this is a weird theory, I know, but this is a very skilled artist, and I am getting distinct innocent child soldier vibes off of this Kaiju, the kind of thing that you'd get in Spy Family or Hunter X, or any one of those where you have the evil dude who conscripts children into his innocent children into his army. That's just the vibe I'm really getting off of this chapter and from the first chapter. So what do you think, my wonderful viewers? Is Kaiju number 8 a child soldier who came to Kafka for protection and to maybe offer Kafka support? Did someone send Kaiju number 8? Is Kaiju number 8, I don't know, maybe Kaiju number 2 was its evil uncle. Who knows? But anyway, that was my concept. The artwork really does, I believe, indicate that Kaiju number 8 is a much younger, more innocent being than we've been thinking. So far, even the ones who had him, if Kaiju number 8 was sapient, they had him down as a cunning military officer who came to Kafka as an equal or even a superior. But I'm thinking that this might be indicating that Kaiju number 8 was a child who came to Kafka as an innocent in need of protection. Now, I have one more little bit of evidence for this, and it's a real stretch. All of this is a real stretch. But if we go all the way back to chapter number 2, and we go back to where Kafka and Reno are fleeing the hospital. And Kafka's just gone through that massive transformation scene where his body where he was getting used to his body, trying to get it under control, or maybe that was Kaiju 8 getting used to Kafka's body. Either way, Kafka goes, "Ichikawa, we have a big problem," as they're running down the street. And Ichikawa goes, "What is it this time?" And Kafka says, "I need to take a leak bad." And of course, Ichikawa says, "Right now, I'm begging you, just hold it in." "I would, but this body's got a mind of his own. I can't fight the urge." "What?" All right, now, this panel, it's on page 15. It's the second to last panel, right before what happens next happens. Kafka says something very telling. "Oh man, this isn't good. I'm an adult, a human being. The last thing I want to do is piss in the middle of a public street." So, I'm an adult, a human being. At this point in time, while Kafka's spirit might be a human being, or his true body is a human being, his true body is tucked away in pocket space. The body that he's speaking to Ichikawa with is not a human being. So, if the last half of that statement was false, i.e. he was not a human being, he was a kaiju, at least the body that was physically there was not a human being body, it was a kaiju, could the first part be false as well? And when I read that at first, I thought that was an odd statement. And I wrote it off as the author just giving Kafka a particular manner of speaking. I'm an adult, a human being. But what if it was more than that? What if it was a flag that means that body is not the body of an adult, and as well as not being the body of a human being? Well, that is my 2 cents for what it's worth. So, what do you think? Is Kaiju number 8 a cunning military ally, or is Kaiju number 8 an innocent child seeking protection? So leave your response in the comments below. I've heard some really other interesting theories that Kaiju number 8 was a kind of a resentful little creature that was constantly being hunted. Probably his kind were being eaten by the larger Kaiju, and that's why he wants to kill Kaiju. But I'm kind of leaning towards the Kaiju number 8 being a young, innocent creature who's actually imprinted on Kafka's mindset, and that's where he got the kill Kaiju mentality. But what do you think? Leave a comment leave your idea in the comments below. Go check out the links below the video to check out Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, A Book of Human Absurdity, or Dying Embers, Dragons, Aliens, and Things That Go Boom in the Night. Peace out, my wonderful viewers.
The book from author Betty Adams, Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, is a humorous look at human behavior through the eyes of aliens. This book is arranged in separate reports or essays, documenting the experiences with humanity through the lens of the aliens who have to interact with them. This anthology of short stories and vignettes from alien points of view highlights some of humanity's quirks we can all relate to. Author Betty Adams captures how strange and interesting humans can really be. This is a fun collection of stories you will really get a kick out of. Humans Are Weird, I Have the Data, from author Betty Adams. Order your copy right now on Amazon.